We're going to talk through dart manipulation and explain exactly what it means and show you how frequently you come across it in your day-to-day life. Just that terminologies are different than they are within fashion design. So this will make you feel more comfortable and familiar with the process. So on the stand here, we have a bodice block. Now this is something that we have featured in one of the other videos on transformational reconstruction cutting. So that's something you can check out after this video. You can see here we have darts from the shoulder to the bust point and from the waist to the bust point. This means the piece of fabric that was cut for the bodice is enabled to contour the form of the female shape we have here, making it fitted around the waist, but we have enough width to cover the bust. And again, we're tapering in the fabric to fit to the shoulder. So the principles that we have here, we see all the time in day-to-day life. Just to say, we use different words to suppression, we fold or we control the fabric. So something that I think most of us would have done is wrap a present. So here, for example, I just have a mug in a box. It makes it much easier, obviously, in a box. And we're going to wrap our present. Then when we come to the ends, we want to suppress, we want to control this extra fullness. So here we are just creasing and folding to contour the fabric to the shape of the box. Likewise at the other end. So this is the same principle that we do in fashion design to our patterns to contour fabric around the body. So that is something I think we're all very familiar with. Other items of day-to-day life that we see control of fullness are things like cake cases. So this is a flat piece of paper that has been manipulated around the outer edge to make it three-dimensional. Again, so this is controlling, this is manipulating fullness, exactly the same as we do with dart manipulation. We also have bendy straws. So again, around the top of the straw, to enable it to bend, we have a concertina of folds so we can create shape and contour the straw. So same principles, just different terminologies associated with the product. Packaging is a great example of dart manipulation, of contouring shape. So this is an old sandwich box that's cut out of one piece of card, but this section is glued, is controlled to suppress that volume to create the shape of our sandwich packet. Another packaging example here, I had a book delivered in this, so I've kept this as an example, because again, we can see this is just one piece of card, but we have a cut which is diagonal through the card and a crease which is a fold, which acts as our dart suppression. So our centerpiece folds into the center, but if I can try and keep that open for you, so you can see it pivots around on itself. The center sections fold to look after the product that's in the center, and then the outer pieces fold to enclose. So again, it's having something that is flat, and we are creating a three-dimensional shape out of it because we are contouring and wrapping around something that is inside. A classic thing where we see flat shapes being made three-dimensional are examples we have here on our card. So these show different shapes that create our footballs. And the gaps we see between the shapes, when they are sewn together, they start to contour and create curvature. So this one here is from the small ball, which is a very classic shape. This one here was from another example I had of a football, which is a mixture of shapes. We can see, and again, the gaps in between are the same principles. These act like the darts and suppress and get rid of this extra fullness we don't need. On the larger example of the ball we have here, this one again is different. We have the larger shape with smaller triangles to create the shape and the curvature of a flat form. If we move across to the other side of the table, here we have a Christmas cracker. Now if I pop our Christmas cracker, we can see we have width in the center where our gift and our hat tend to be. It's suppressed in the center and comes back out for width at the end. And when we open up our cracker and actually destroy it, we can see we have a little more, lots of suppression of fullness. So our jagged edge means when we draw them together, they sit together in a circle, but also are flat because we've taken away the extra fullness. Now this works just like a dart as we have on the bodice. So we are drawing some shapes together. The only difference is behind here we have the piece of fabric because we've stitched two pieces together rather than what it's been cut away with on the cracker. So the principles of the cracker I took a little bit further. As you can see here on our first example, this represents where the cracker was drawn into a little bow at the end. So we have the shape that we have the width, which contours for our hip, and then we have the extra width we need for the bust of a garment. So taking that shape into a pattern, I divided the garment up into sections. So we had a center front, a center back, and then I also quartered it, taking out the diamond shape, the suppression of fullness, controlling what we didn't need, making our shape three-dimensional. That gives us the basic principles then to add extra shape that accommodate our neck edge. This is our armhole. This is our back, neck and shoulder. And this area here is the dart suppression from the shoulder to the bust point. And here we have the bust point to waist and down to our hip. Moving then from card into fabric, we started here. This was just a prototype, our toile, where we try things out and see how they work. So I only did half a garment because there was no need to do a full piece. And then taking it that step further into the full garment. So this is all cut out of one piece of fabric, just with the contour lines there to control our fabric to create the little dress, which is exactly the same as our packaging, which is out of a flat piece of card or paper, and then we create something three-dimensional. So that's the principles behind dart manipulation and how we can relate to it on a more familiar basis than being hung up on the terminology associated just with fashion design.